Good morning. Wow, Marlon comes with the fight. He's in a good mood today. We'll get to why. Your host, First World Third Rails, Marlon, aka Mayhem, aka I think I'm still B rated. Good morning, one and all. My partner in crime, JD, aka JD. I am in the midst of a heat wave here in Seattle, and yes, we have heat waves in Seattle. We're right smack in, what I hope is our last heat wave for the summer. I am in a phenomenal mood, like most of us this morning. I'm going to get to that. Before I get to that, I'm coming to you today with Big Sur, California in the background. Isn't that beautiful?
Oh, wow, that's really pretty.
Thank you. Thank you.
Beautiful.
I had originally intended to come to you from Texas Stadium with my cowboy gear on, and I switched up this morning. And because I switched up this morning, quick shout out to Zach Martin, left guard, or right guard. He signed $18 million a season.
That's good.
Maybe the juniors out there will start to listen to Marlon Taylor when Marlon Taylor told you weeks ago, calm the F down. It will get done. And it got done.
RELAX, right? Is that the
Yes. Calm the down. I know what I'm talking about. Alas, though, it wasn't all good news. We lose Ezekiel Elliott, who signed a one-year deal with the Patriots. My hope was that Zeke, and I told him that yesterday, I was still holding out hope that Zeke would come back to the Cowboys. The Patriots are thin at running back, and they signed him to a one-year deal. Having said that, I also told Zeke, 21 will forever hang in my closet. He will always be a Cowboy, near and dear to my heart. So I wish him the best, all except week 9 when we play the Patriots. So I wish Zeke the very best. Glad to have Zach back in camp. So I wanted to give those 2 shout outs before I quickly move to Happy 4th Indictment Day. I saw a tweet this morning that I absolutely loved. Shit, I still have decorations up from the 3rd indictment.
Oh, I like that. That is very good.
Oh my God.
Need to take down my decorations from the 3rd indictment. I'm looking for something. I'll be right back. Keep going. Don't mind me.
Listen, I want to be clear, because there are a lot of dickheads out there who are chiming, who are shouting off and spouting off. Let me be clear. No one in this country, including the orange bag of shit, should be above the law. Period. This has nothing to do with bipartisanship. This has nothing to do with a rogue DOJ, deep state. This is about the law. Plain and simple. And anybody who watched Fannie Willis's press conference last night, she specifically and clearly laid out the indictment and the violations of the law and those involved. And I want to first pivot to the first name I want to talk about, because I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, but let me just take a logical, mathematical approach to this. Rudy Giuliani is 81 years old. Let me remind everyone, and I know you know this, JD, so I'm preaching to the choir. Let me remind everyone tuning in. This is state case, not federal. So there is no pardon. And in RICO charge,
there's no pardon from Kemp either. There's the Georgia governor can't pardon.
No. And in RICO cases, we all are aware, hopefully by now, there are mandatory minimums that has to be served. So mandatory minimum in a RICO case is 5 years before you can be paroled or pardoned.
That's good enough.
Rudy Giuliani would then be 86, 87 before he's even eligible to be pardoned or paroled. he's not going to make it that far. And so the likelihood of Giuliani dying in prison is very, very high. I assume he knows this. I mean, he's an idiot because he's been brainwashed. He's in the cult. He's in the bubble. He's a complete effing idiot. But I would assume he knows what's at risk here, that he will die in prison if he goes to prison. Which means, to me, he's an idiot, so he most likely will choose to die on this hill, thinking he'll have an out somewhere down the line.
He'll die on the hill. It'll be actually a verbatim example of that.
Yes,
whole
yes.
act
But a
coming-
more plausible outcome is Rudy Giuliani coming to the reality of that situation and flipping.
Yeah, baby.
Not all 19, and I know Fanny said this in her press conference, not all 19 are going to come to trial. Cheers. They're going to be plea deals. I said to my better half last night, everybody's a badass until you start dangling federal time in front of them.
I was a badass.
Yes.
Just the thought of it scared me.
Yes. Yes. So, and a bigger discussion, and we'll peel that back if you like, a bigger discussion is who's not named in those indictments.
Oh, how so?
Lindsey Graham. Why isn't he named in those indictments? He helped enable this. Why isn't he named? Many people believe he's not named because he's flipped already.
I could see him trying to be in two places at once.
And that's not going to work. That's not going to work.
Well, if it keeps him out of jail, it'll work.
Well, then he'll have to flip. The beauty.
No. If he's already flipped, that's my presumption. In other words, he would have had to have already flipped in order to be left off the list.
Yes. Yes.
That's not legal logic. That's layperson logic.
That's layperson logic. Did you, and for the first time in a long time, I watched Rachel Maddow on MSNBC as this all rolled out. I was on ABC first, and then I switched over to MSNBC.
What did Rachel have to say?
A lot.
Did she just sit there and ask questions?
Well, she did a lot. She helped those who might have been tuning in late, like me, understand what just unfolded. They talked about Fanny's press conference. Let me talk about that for a second.
Okay.
Because I watched that press conference beginning to end. The biggest takeaway for me, and I'm a layperson, biggest takeaway for me watching that is Fanny was very detailed, very specific, and very in accordance with the law. That's one. Two, she has tried RICO cases in the state of Georgia. This is not her first RICO case.
Oh, really?
No. I almost opened up the show, but I didn't because I know without asking, you have not seen The Dark Knight.
I have not seen The Dark Knight.
Which is why I didn't have that video queued up.
Is there a scene from The Dark Knight?
Yes.
Does it involve pain?
That is very apropos to this moment.
Well, Heath Ledger, the rumor is Heath Ledger took his life because of that movie.
That could be true. It could not be true. Heath Ledger was a talent. It's the best role I've ever seen him do. And is the best film I've ever seen related to the Batman movies.
So how did the scene from Dark Knight relate to Fannie Willis?
The mob in The Dark Knight had an accountant who, that was his line, I'm good with calculations. And once Batman caught him and brought him back from Taiwan, China, where he was, They got him he was in an interview room. And the discussion was, I won't give you the money, but I'll give you everybody involved with the mob. And that's when the light bulb came on. Hey, RICO statute. If you can charge one, you can charge them all. And that's exactly what has happened here.
Well, I didn't know until you just told me that she's had prior experience this RICO.
She has tried 11 RICO cases
Whoa.
Since 2021.
Well, you know, the way I can relate to this is we have a butcher block with knives in it.
Mhm.
But I always use the same knife. In other words, I can produce all the results I want with a single knife. So that's probably, she's like, I've done this.
No. This goes beyond
I think human beings go to what they know and what they're really, really good at.
And this goes beyond the butcher block. Here's why.
I know, but I mean, they could have gone so many different ways, I assume.
Doesn't matter. Here's why.
I really liked what I just said.
All of it is good. It's good. But here's the point that you're missing. Of all the charges laid out in this indictment, they only need conviction of 2.
2 out of or 2 specific?
2 out of.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow, you're chock-a-block with excellent information. So those are 2 things
you know, I have steadfastly maintained this buffoon is not going to prison.
That is a true statement.
I have a different view of that this morning. I really do. Because,
well, the things you've cited already, plus the one thing I added, which is that the governor can't pardon him.
The governor can't, no one can pardon him.
So there's a minimum, there are minimums. You only need 2. She's already done 11, and the governor can't pardon her.
Correct.
That's a stack.
And here's the cherry on top of all that.
That's 4 of a kind.
They have, in my opinion, and I've just started to read the indictment this morning, so I don't know evidence. I'm starting to read the indictment. But in my opinion, they have rock solid evidence for conviction. And here's why.
My understanding is they actually have, again, recordings in paper.
Yes.
And those are always the best kind.
Instructing from his legal team, instructing the circumventing of voting software, instructing criminal behavior. And I love the tweet. The phone call was for,
how did Lindsey Graham get out of this? You're right.
The phone call was for 11,000 votes. He got 12.
11,800.
He got 12.
More than what we have.
He got 12. He called for 11,000. He got 12.
Oh, you mean they were requesting 12, or they were going to give him 12?
He was calling for 11 to find 11,000 plus votes.
11,800, as I recall.
11,800. He got 12.
When you say he got 12, what do you mean?
12 voting to indict him. He got 12 votes out of Georgia, and they are to indict him.
You were doing a word play, and it was a really good one, and I didn't catch up.
Well, you're caught up now.
You're saying the grand jury unanimously voted to return an indictment.
Yes, a true bill of indictment.
Shazam. Well, this brings me to the thing that I thought would be appropriate here.
By all means.
It's from Robert Reich, but I want to wait till you get to the end of your.
Oh, no. I'm at a point where you can step in happily. Listen, again, we've been on our podcast. I have been staunch in my position. This is why we wanted, shout out to invite my good friend, Kimberly Johnson, who I have now swung all the way in her favor. That yes, no deal, no plea. He needs to go to prison, period.
Because I thought you made a valid point, and I think I was okay with it as well. If he would if he would accept a plea deal that kept him out of the Oval Office and out of jail. You said you were okay with that. I was okay with that. Are you changing your opinion?
Yes, based on what we are learning from Georgia. Yes, he needs, listen, they can call it whatever the hell they want to call it. He broke the law, and every Republican, and I'm going to get to the Republicans in a minute, but every enabler who's out there saying, oh, well, if this can happen to him, it can happen to you. Yes, it can happen to me if I break the law.
All right, so that's an interesting change of opinion, and I would suggest that it has the beauty of being an opinion, and we all have our opinions, and you can actually have two opinions at the same time, which is I want him to go to jail and I would accept a plea deal. So if somebody said, what's your first choice? That would be he goes to jail.
Yes.
And is eliminated that way. And if somebody said that's not happening, what's your second choice? It'd be that, can you get a plea deal where he agrees not to run? Then I would accept that, if that makes sense. So it's an order of precedence. Now, what I'd like to do is I'd like to play something that's going to take, it's going to take about 3 minutes and 30 seconds.
All right.
Pretty long.
All right.
But it's Robert Reich, and the people who wrote this did a really, really good job. It is simple and straightforward. Let me know when you're ready.
Go.
All right, so I'm going to share my screen.
I'm here for it. From Big Sur, California.
Can you see the screen?
Oh God, you just almost made me throw up my coffee.
I know. I'm so sorry. All right, so I'm going to play it and then I'm going to shut up.
Trump's defenders are still lying about his indictments. Here are 5 crucial facts you can share with whoever in your life needs to hear them. President Biden did not indict Trump. 4 different grand juries, made up of ordinary citizens, indicted Trump after being presented with evidence they found compelling enough to warrant criminal prosecution. The reason we have grand juries is specifically to help make sure no one gets prosecuted out of a personal vendetta. This isn't about free speech. In all 4 cases, Trump has been indicted because of what he allegedly did, not what he said. Lots of crimes involve speech, but that doesn't stop them from being crimes. It doesn't matter whether Trump believed the election was stolen. There's plenty of evidence that Trump knew he lost the election fair and square. His claims of massive fraud were rejected by his own campaign manager, White House lawyers, and his hand-picked Justice Department officials. They all told him the claims of fraud were bull. And privately, Trump seemed to admit that he either knew or didn't care that his claims were false, allegedly criticizing Vice President Pence for being too honest, and allegedly admitted to his chief of staff, Mark Meadows, that he lost and wanted to cover it up.
So he said something to the effect of, I don't want people to know we lost, Mark. This is embarrassing. Figure it out. We need to figure it out. I don't want people to know that we lost.
But even if Trump really did believe the election was stolen, that doesn't give him the right to allegedly commit a criminal conspiracy to try to steal it back.
You might believe that your bank owes you some money. You don't have a right to go rob the bank.
Trump has received preferential treatment because of who he is. Trump's defenders complain about his 2-tier system of justice.
This is a 2-tier justice system.
They're right about that, but not in the way they claim. Trump has been given special privileges most criminal defendants would never get. In all 4 criminal cases, he's been released without bail. He's repeatedly been spared the indignity of a mugshot. He's not had his passport suspended or had limits placed on his ability to travel, even though 2 of his criminal cases involved direct threats to national security. And even though he has used social media to issue insults and threats against potential witnesses, behavior that would cause many criminal defendants to be held without bail pending trial. Trump was in legal trouble long before entering politics. Some of Trump's defenders claim the sheer number of criminal charges and civil suits he's now facing is proof that he's being targeted for political reasons. But you have to remember that Trump was the subject of about 4,000 legal actions before ever running for president. From his fraudulent Trump University scam to federal lawsuits over racist housing discrimination, Trump has spent his life in court because of his own shady behavior. Trump is being prosecuted now because as 4 grand juries have found, the strength of the evidence against him merits it. If we fail to hold him fully accountable under the law, the precedent will embolden future presidents to break the law, jeopardize national security, invite insurrections, and possibly even overturn an election. The principle that no one is above the law is true only if we make it so.
Amen.
I thought that was very,
Amen.
very good.
Amen.
So 90 seconds, which, excuse me, 3 minutes and 30 seconds, which is, I mean, on our podcast, it's not long.
Every single one of those was factual.
It
Not
was-
Robert's opinion, factual.
And the reason I liked it is because it's like a Christmas tree. So I'm going to go from the knife block to the Christmas tree. And on that Christmas tree, you have a couple of really important ornaments. There's so much to choose from. And I thought that did a pretty good job with the 5. He was convicted by citizens. It's not about what he said, it's about what he did. Whether he believes it is immaterial, that's like the nuclear one. Yes, there is a 2-tier justice system, which is the one you always go to, which is no bail, no mugshot, and he still has his passports, even though he threatened national security.
Colin Kaepernick.
And the number 5 one is the kind that I think really deserves being brought back into focus, which was the day he drove up the White House driveway. He'd already 4,000 lawsuits brought and initiated. So clearly the persecution or the lawsuits did not start with his presidency.
No. No. But MAGA would have you believe that it did. MAGA would have you believe he's a great businessman. And when you say to MAGA, show me evidence of him being a great businessman, and I would step back. MAGA, understand something when you make that claim. I know you're stupid, but understand something. Great businessmen do not file for bankruptcy. That's not the mark of a great businessman.
More facts. I have run out of my own money when I'm pursuing it ever, but I never went bankrupt.
One of the panelists on Rachel Maddow last night said it perfectly. For you MAGAs who have that single box of crayon IQ, where's my box of crayons?
Coming, babe. Hold on.
There we go. 1 IQ,
16 colors.
16. 1 IQ for every crayon in the box.
There you go. You were telling us for every MAGA, and you're
Right.
talking about a panelist on Rachel Maddow, but then you got caught up in the crayon thing. So
In the crayon thing. The law is finally catching up to Donald J. Trump. Robert Wright said it perfectly. He has, for those of us, especially those of us of color, who have been discriminated against him in his landlord practices, the Central Park 5, the good people on both sides, we could go down a litany of shit from him. The law,
it's hard to focus.
he has managed to pay his way out of trouble each and every time he's been in it. Not today. Not today. He is not paying his way out of Georgia and what he did in Georgia. Not what he said, what he did. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it. The part that is ripping my heart up, and it's you can find it. The part of Rachel Maddow that I missed was Hillary on. And I shout out to Hillary Rodham Clinton because karma has come full circle.
Lock him up.
We should be in Hillary's second term right now. We're not, and we all know why.
Comey, Jim
But
Comey.
yes. And
It-
this is
actually, Comey fucked her up. I gotta
Yes.
wonder if the Russians got to Comey, but
I'm sure they did.
I'm not gonna fractal off. Go ahead. Say
No, I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did. I'm a believer. I'm not a conspiracy theorist guy. You know that, but I believe that. Poetic justice is clearly defined for Hillary Clinton in this case. And it's her appearance on Rachel Maddow's out there, and I missed it. I haven't watched it yet, but everybody kept tweeting the fact that she was on and the smile on her face. I did hear one of her comments via the tweet, which was one of the options to hold him accountable here is going to prison. And I'll just leave that there. Beautiful, beautiful. All the chance for years, lock her up, lock her up. And who's at the precipice of that fucking jailhouse door right now? Right now.
Well, as you know, I tend to have this connect the dots type thing. So I think the value is in the exposition because I'm not going to rehash things, but I'm just going to restate. So the restatement would be, I consider Trump to be the chosen one, and he was chosen by the maggots.
Yep.
So the maggots now are recalculating, you know, like your GPS when you're driving and you pass an exit and it goes recalculating. So they're recalculating. Most of the front and center defenses of him have been non-essential personnel. Ted Cruz is a senator. He was in that list, but most of them were just throwaways. In other words, if you have somebody like a Matt Schlapp, that is literally a throwaway. Nobody, I'm guessing nobody, including the maggots, will care what Schlapp says. But almost everything I've seen to date implies that there's a recalculation going on. I haven't heard anything out of Christie Ramaswamy or Tim Scott. You heard from Tim Scott yet? I think we heard from Lindsey Graham, but it's the same drivel that you would expect from Lindsey.
I told Tim Scott to go clean the outhouse. That's his job. Go clean the outhouse and shut them F up.
You know what would really be interesting is if, okay, so from a distance, Tim Scott appears to be a decent human being.
Not to me.
And I'll
Not
bet
to me.
is just an ocean between his private and his public persona. And they talk about trying to thread a needle, you know, like you're trying to just go in a very specific direction. Oh my God, he's trying to close a wound.
Yes.
There's no way he can be those places at one time. There's no way he can be in the MAGA stew and be happy about it. He cannot be happy about this. And I guess it's a matter of personal pride. I suppose I would do the same thing, even if I was losing. It would be so much fun to be running for president and maybe get on a ballot somewhere. It would just be fun, go on a stage. But he knows I think he knows multiple ways. He knows what other people are going to decide, and he knows he himself will not survive the process.
There is merit to the viewpoint you hold. And, you know, normally in our discussions, I don't place a lot of value on exposition because of the cycle, right? Meaning something's exposed and nothing's done, which frustrates me.
I probably place a disproportionate amount of emphasis on it because it's all we get.
Right. But I will give you this, and I'm just realizing that the actress that followed me on Twitter was the one who sent this tweet. I didn't realize that at first. Former Republican Lieutenant Governor of Georgia.
Duncan?
Yes. Have you heard his comments? I'm going to read you verbatim what he said. Donald Trump was the worst candidate ever in the history of our party. And now we're going to have to pivot from there.
Recalculate, GPS. So that to me would be an example of an individual recalculating. And if you've heard his prior comments, he's not too fond of
Trump.
For obvious reasons. But if he's saying, yo, the entire party needs to pivot.
Yes.
That's a recalculation.
But that's not going to happen. And
Okay, but it's based on exposition.
As I said to my better half, he is still going to be the Republican nominee, which tells you everything you need to know about the Republican Party right now.
Well,
the hypocrisy is so thick.
Limited to the 38, the MAGA, and then what I talk about are the independents and the floaters,
enablers,
and
the enablers.
And what's interesting, this is a bit of a challenge if you think about it. In the Republican Party, which is less than 50% of the voting populace, right?
Right.
In the Republican Party, the 38% of the total represents the majority of just the Republican Party.
Correct.
So
correct.
The fact that he is named as the candidate does not immediately mean that all of the Republicans voted for him in the primary. So he is going to win the primary because he's going to have the majority, but not all.
Let me tell you what I'm here for. And I agree with that. Let me tell you what I'm here for. The day he wins that nomination and has to walk off whatever stage he's on and go into a trial is the day I am here for.
Amen. Oh, that'd be sweet.
And this is going to be televised, and it should be televised.
Oh, you're saying the Georgia one's televised?
Yes.
And
This
they're
is
trying
state.
to get the
This is not federal. This is
January
state.
6th one televised, right?
Yep. There's no we need to make exceptions or things need to be done for Georgia. This is state level, which can be televised. Cameras are allowed in the courtroom at the state level in Georgia.
You know, I noticed something, and I'm all for it, but I find it intriguing. Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Third rail, baby. But we agree, this is as it should be, but I think in order, I'm gonna start in a different place. I'm gonna restart this whole thought. So Jack Smith was brought in as special counsel. I personally believe that the Department of Justice was waiting for the January 6th committee to run out.
To finish. Yeah, to finish.
So I don't nick them as much for the delay. I thought it made sense for them to let that reach a conclusion.
Yeah.
And then there was a period of time when Merrick Garland, we don't know what was going on, but I presume they were gathering evidence, and then they named Jack Smith. Now, I like what's happening at the federal level, and it's happening on two fronts, one in Florida with the documents and one in DC with the January 6th. And Jack Smith is a white dude.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the reason I said he's a white dude is because he's a representative of the Department of Justice, and there are a lot of people involved in those. But if you look at the heavy lifting that would be required to convince a state or a jurisdiction like the Southern District of New York to make the commitment to pursue this fucker, that's going to take a special kind of focus and dedication. And if you go all the way back to the early days in the Southern District of New York, that was derailed multiple times. Was it Vance?
The hush money payment.
That was derailed.
Yep,
Cyrus Vance couldn't get it done.
yep,
And as you recall, there was a lot of early disappointment with Alvin Bragg because Alvin Bragg was like, we don't have enough evidence to
Yep.
convict.
yep.
Well, apparently he went into hibernation and worked in background and got enough evidence to convict, despite not being able to get their CFO to flip, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, to our knowledge. However, Alvin Bragg is a black man.
Yep,
And Fannie Willis,
is a black woman.
if you think about it, she has, I mean, the moment it was like, go, she's been on it and just crushing it. But they're both black people. And I think it took that kind of fearless focus to convince the state of Georgia and the city of New York to go after this fucker. If it had been left to just normal, go along to get along, we don't want to cause any trouble, they wouldn't have happened. So I think race has played a role, and what it's played here is an energy, focus, clarity, understanding of the import role, and a willingness to simply not accept the status quo. So I'm very pleased.
I'll, there's no pushback on that.
Well, there
But I
should
want to be,
there should be a lot of cases in a lot of places.
I want to be clear. Again, this is about the law. Yes, we have racial components that you just eloquently outlined, but this is about the law.
I made it energy and focus and determination and dedication. And I think they are probably a little more isolated from the old boy network.
Yep.
Which
Yep.
would have meant that the parties that would have approached them, they would have been very suspicious. Whereas if it was somebody like a Vance, Vance was probably talked down by the people he'd been working with for the last 30 years. And I'm like, you know,
Probably.
why don't you just go ahead and retire? And you did a good job, whatever. But these guys are, they probably were approached and they didn't say it, but they're probably like, I know who you are. No, I don't think so.
No.
Not
No.
that-
This is about, again, the law.
Well, it should be always about the law, but frequently it is not. It's about decisions that are made that we don't see
Right.
by organizations inside of a bureaucracy that we don't know about or understand. And
Right.
we imagine that the law actually reaches off of the page to apply itself. That doesn't happen. Human beings have to lift it off the page and lay it over the situation. So if you talk about a bureaucracy, you're inevitably going to come to a bottleneck where an individual makes a decision and that decision then affects what the bureaucracy does. And that's really what Colin Kaepernick is talking about. Can you believe it? I beat you to it.
Yeah, you did.
And that's why
Yeah,
Colin Kaepernick took a knee.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Two things. One, to the Georgia state electors, the two black women, and I don't, their names are not in my head right now, whose lives
Oh, gutsy.
he ruined. I am so happy for them because this is a moment of justice for them.
Aren't they suing him independently?
Yes,
Go, girl.
go,
I love it.
go. And the speed of which Fannie wants to do this, 6 months. That's she's still trying to seat juries in other RICO cases, and it's been 6 months trying to seat a jury. She's ready to go, and she's ready to go because she has the evidence. We know what he did. We know it. And now we have the trail. We have, as they like to say, the receipts.
I would like to share my screen yet again.
Go for it.
This one is not a video. This is just a chart. And I have
Go for it.
I happen to think it's a good chart. Bear with me. Let me tell you what I'm doing. I am just trying to make it a good size, so it's visible. All right, one screen sharing coming up. Dink. All right, so can you see this screen?
Yes, I can.
All right, so none of these is in advance of the first GOP presidential debate,
No,
which is okay. It doesn't bother me.
and he's not going to do that debate.
He will.
No, he won't.
Oh, he will.
No, he won't.
He will.
I'll bet you a lunch on that right now. He's
Okay,
not doing
look.
that.
Again.
He's already said this is his.
You actually paid attention to what he said?
I did in this particular case. He's not doing the debate because he feels that the debate is only to find who is going to run with him. So he doesn't intend to show up for that debate.
All right. That's my opinion, so we don't need to argue. I'm with you on that. That made good sense what you just said. So this is the civil fraud audit. So
Yes. Yes.
what's the difference between the civil fraud audit and the New York State?
I don't know.
Isn't that interesting? We've got so many on here. And
I
this
know.
does not include the Georgia one.
No, we haven't even gotten to that yet.
Okay, so we know what this one is, the E. Jean Carroll,
Yep.
and that occurs during.
What's not showing here is the January 6th in Georgia.
Exactly, because those need to be locked down.
Yep.
So the big federal and the big state.
Yep.
Because the one in New York is big, but it's also about Trump, the private citizen. The one in Georgia is Trump, ex-president. All right, so pyramid scheme class action suit.
I don't even know what that is.
Isn't that fascinating? New York State criminal hush money suit, and then
Stormy Daniels, and then Florida Mar-a-Lago.
so this is missing.
The two big ones.
Two
The two
big
big ones.
But the speculation is that they will occur after Super Tuesday, and that would.
I don't care about that. I don't care about that.
Right,
Here's what-
which goes to what you were saying, is it's highly probable he'll be the candidate.
Oh, he will be the candidate. This is the state of the Republican Party. This is who they are. Maya Angelou, when they show you who they are the first time, believe them. Let me something that needs to be pointed out here.
No, you don't need that graphic, do you?
No.
Okay.
And it's made its rounds again. If you are sending money to a person that has a private plane while living in a trailer park, you're a fucking idiot. And I'm sorry.
I would probably agree with you on that, except for that absolutely stellar takedown by that woman. Social Capital, the one you sent to me where you said she's saying what you're saying, but she's saying it 10 times
Yep.
better.
Yep.
You know
So,
that's one we should play.
But he's going to continue to grift, and they're going to continue giving him money.
Yes.
That's not going to change with this. So my point here.
No, it appears that every time this happens, he gets more money.
My point here is that's not going to change. He will still witch hunt, send me money. I need your money, even though you don't have a pot to fucking piss in. Send me what you have, and they'll do it.
Well, the church did that, so let's not. I mean,
The other 18 on that, the other 18 co-conspirators do not have that luxury. They, as pointed out last night on Rachel Maddow, this is serious shit.
Yeah, it's what you said earlier. You're like, if you're in a federal indictment, I mean,
you need to go hire a lawyer right the hell now. Because guess what? A week from Friday, you've got to turn yourself in and go through the process. So you best have a lawyer. And as I tweeted out with respect to the Orange Menace, anyone else, not any other black person, anyone else on the planet would be sitting in a jail cell right now, going through Yellow Pages, Google that, kids, trying to find a lawyer to prepare myself for my court appearance on August 25th.
So hold on, you're saying the moment the indictment comes down, people are jailed?
Most people are held
I
until
thought,
they
I
make,
thought there was an arraignment.
okay, they have to be arraigned. You
Right.
got to
so-
post bail. You have to post bail.
Yeah, but you do that at your arraignment in discussion with the judge.
With the judge, correct.
So
So-
technically, I'm not correcting you, but nobody would be in jail yet. If they come to a crossroads where they can neither post bail, nor do they have a lawyer, nor can they equivocate or protect themselves in any way, shape, or form, then yeah, my suspicion is they're gonna go.
How
to
many
jail.
black people do you know released on their own recognizance before trial?
I'm going to suggest I have literally no idea, and so I can't argue or offer an opinion.
Here's my opinion. 0.
Okay, well, I'll go with your opinion on this because you're a subject matter expert.
0. 0. We go to jail, which is what he should be doing. But okay, he's getting special treatment. Robert Wright certainly made that very clear in his eloquent 3-minute and 30-second video. Here's where this is going to pivot and be different. If he continues, and he will, to attack people on Truth Social,
Oh, God, yes.
they're going to put him in jail.
Well, you know what? I assume he's going back to Twitter or X.
Truth Social.
No, True Social is going to collapse because the reverse structure that they were setting up for it went.
Well, once it collapsed, he'll go back. But right now, he's attacking everyone on Truth Social.
And the good thing about
Against,
True Social is he's his own moderator, or he has-
against judges' orders. And at some point, the judges are going, especially in Georgia, are going to say, look, enough's enough. Enough's enough. We tried to extend you a courtesy. You're not listening to me. So guess what's going to happen now? I'm going to make you listen to me.
Well, it's going to have to be contingent upon his actually being in Georgia because DeSanctimonious has already said that he won't process or support extradition from Florida. New York, I can't tell you.
Oh, New York will. New York will.
It seems possible. And you know what? Based on evidence to date, you really don't have to worry about any type of popular pushback or uprising. In other words, you're going to get, you've seen the people who have gone to these arraignments, right?
Do you know who was at Georgia yesterday?
Who?
No one.
Oh, you're making my point for me. Thank you. No one was, did you mean no one, 0?
0.
There wasn't any of those wacky
I
ass
wish I
people?
could find, I might have liked it.
There
So
was one guy that was just,
I might have liked it. Let me see if I have it under my likes.
Did you say
There's
0? I find that absolutely delightful.
if I liked it, which I think I did, I'll pull it up and I'll share it with you. The camera, somebody obviously was filming outside the Georgia courthouse, and they did a pan, and there was no one there. No one.
That is fantastic.
It's beautimous.
Beautimus.
This has all given me a newfound belief to the panelists' point last night. The law is finally catching up to him. He's avoided it his whole life. He's avoided responsibility his entire life. And finally, it is catching up to him.
Whether he's incarcerated is a separate issue. We're agreed.
Separate issue.
98-page indictment, 161 acts.
Yep.
I mean,
Under the RICO
you know
statute.
you're gonna be in court for a while, just, they're like, we're gonna
Under-
read the 161 acts. Son of a-
Under the RICO statute, where they only need conviction of 2 of the counts.
Of the 161?
Yep. They only need 2.
Are those, I think it's 161 acts, but I don't know if
I think the count is about, well,
it's,
I want to say 41.
okay. That does sound very, very familiar. Now, was Meadows named in this one?
Yes, he was.
Because we know Meadows traveled to Cobb County to observe an audit of votes in late December.
Yes, he did.
It says he also tried to enter the room and later texted the official leading the audit, is there a way to speed up Fulton County signature verification in order to have results before January 6th? And so far, that's okay, comma, if the Trump campaign assisted financially.
Ding, ding, ding.
Giuliani is accused of lying Kelser Freeze.
Ding,
And also
ding,
lied to
ding.
members of
If the
the
Trump campaign assisted financially. Ding, 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 ding.
I like this one. The indictment accuses Trump and Eastman of filing a complaint that included various voter fraud allegations, and they are technically false legal documents.
Correct.
Oh, Trump tried to drag RNC Chair Ronna McDaniel. Now, I really have issues with Ronna McDaniel. She literally should have 2 faces.
You know who I'm going to enjoy watching go to prison? Sidney Powell.
Oh, God. Is she named in there?
Yes, she is.
Oh, here's one. The Trump team allegedly forged election certification documents. Is this part of the fake electors thing?
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Trump lied in the call. Okay. Okay, Lindsey Graham, don't impeach, don't convict him, just vote against him.
Lindsay, to which I responded directly to Lindsay and said, I know you're a fucking idiot, but we've already voted and demonstrated that we don't want him. I know you're stupid, but we've already done that.
Oh, here's,
I want to find that video so badly. I continue while I continue to.
well, nothing major. The whole issue with the accusation that the Department of Justice and these various states and jurisdictions waited until the election was starting to start this process. And I don't know how you would go through all of these details. You heard, 161 acts. I mean, you're not going to bring that against an ex-president without a lot of homework.
Of evidence.
Now, you know
Share
what?
down. I'm going to share my screen.
Okay.
Fulton County Courthouse. Yesterday.
Where have all the Trumpsters gone?
Look at that. Look at that. Look at the protesting.
They stayed home.
Well, there's 2 white dudes.
Oh, that's magnificent. So these are the barricades that were set up.
Yep. Let's watch it again. Let's watch it again. Oh, what? Nah, he's leaving. Oh, there are a couple of white dudes.
No
there.
Trumpsters. The guy with the signs, I can't remember, he was wearing a foil hat or something. Well,
You-
that's actually a joyous celebration of,
Beautimus.
because I'm counting on the maggots because because they're, a lot of them are white people.
Yep.
And a lot of them are pre-diabetic and they eat very poorly.
Yep.
They have low energy. A lot
Yep.
of them are taking some kind
Low
of.
education, low education. I love the poorly uneducated.
Well, what's interesting is you can have a motivated, ignorant person, but if somebody is like, "Ugh, you know, I don't have the energy to do this because I am in such poor health and I have such a crappy job and my car isn't reliable and I can't get somebody to babysit the kids, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera." So there are a lot of things against a MAGA actually getting out of the house. So here you've seen it. I think that's brilliant. They're down to zero, zip, nada, yet, nothing, honey. That would be the one area where I think we have a tremendous advantage, is that a lot of these maggots are going to be low energy and they'll really come to life among their own kind. And if you get the ones who are males between 18 and 27, that males between 18 and 27 can eat any amount of shit, not get enough sleep, have a crappy environment, but they're still actually, courtesy of the way human beings work, they're still going to be able to exert force and they're going to be able to walk. But a
But
lot of these
Jared-
people can't walk more than about a half mile without getting, substantial.
Because they're in the cult. They're in the cult.
They're in the cult. It's like I got to carry a folding chair. I got to carry it a quarter mile. I can't do that. I got to carry a cooler. I got to get the cooler to get. I'm telling you, there are a lot of lazy fucking people, because if you're mentally lazy, it follows you'll be physically lazy. If you're just like, I'm not going to get up and change it from Newsmax, or, I mean, that's just lazy. I'd actually probably go to lazy before I go to ignorant. But either way,
I have ignorant at the top of it. And as I said to my better half last night, until somebody gives me a better word, a more appropriate word, that is the word I'm going to continue to use, because your behavior, your words, your actions speak to exactly that.
well, you brought me great joy with your zero Trumpster expose. So it's gone downhill. It started with New York, I guess, and then it went downhill to the.
Oh, there's still 38% out there,
Downhill.
Iowa this weekend, where it's a witch hunt and they're only doing this because it's an election year.
Well, and now we're at zero. Hey, you know what else we are? We're
At time.
hour. I'm going to ask you to take us out, because every time we go over an hour, it wreaks havoc. Everything's too.
I know.
Besides, it was a really good day. This is a very good day.
This is a very good day for democracy. We need to see it through because of what Robert Wright said. It is important that we not set a precedent going forward that future presidents feel emboldened to break the law. We must set this precedent.
Right. And the precedent is that if you do these things for some stupid fucking reason, you will be convicted.
Yes. This heat wave aside here in Seattle, this is the start of the week that I needed. Because we'll have some fun later in the week. We've got sessions coming up. Everyone knows that I take great joy, as much joy as I got watching that unfold last night. Everyone who knows me knows I take great joy in throwing chum in the water for the 12s here in Seattle, who play the Dallas Cowboys on Saturday.
Oh,
I don't care about the
game on Saturday.
I'm sorry.
Preseason game.
Yep.
So is Geno Smith still the quarterback for Seattle?
Yep.
Who did they draft? Some youngin.
They drafted a few youngins, because remember, they had multiple first-round picks because of the Russell Wilson trade. But they play the Cowboys, and anytime Seattle plays the Cowboys, Marlon Taylor becomes public enemy number one. Now, this
You're
is
an easy mark. I'll grant you that.
This is a preseason game, so I'll have some fun with the 12s because it's the Cowboys.
Well,
but it's meaningless, and my better half just doesn't understand that. She goes, "You tell me it's meaningless. I don't understand how this is meaningless. And I'm going, honey, preseason is about one thing. It is about building your roster.
Well,
Period.
if you go to NFL.com and you're like, I want to see the results for preseason, they're not there.
No, no one cares. This is about building the roster. Having said that, let me give you an example as I take us out. The Baltimore Ravens.
No way you can start a sports spiel and take us out.
I can't on this one. The
Oh,
Baltimore Ravens, 30 miles north of you,
Mm-hmm.
have not lost a preseason game since Barack Obama was in office. What does that mean?
That means that preseason
Zero.
games are not
It means zero.
not the indicator for success. Now,
No.
I wanted during preseason games, don't the rookie quarterbacks play? Do you recall who Seattle drafted? Because they still have the guy they got from Denver, right?
Yeah. I think one of the tight ends, Noah Fant, I think they still have him. They drafted. They
Have a quarterback. What was the quarterback's name?
Drew Lock.
Thank you. I couldn't remember.
Their first round pick was Njigba Smith, wide receiver out of Ohio State, who's a really, really good football player. I think he's going to have significant impact for Seattle. Every coach has a different philosophy in preseason. I am very happy to say Mike McCarthy, head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, is aligned with Marlon Taylor. We are not putting any veterans on the field in preseason. None. You will not see Dak Prescott. You will not see Tony Pollard. You will not see CeeDee Lamb. You will not see Michael Parsons. You will not see Trayvon Diggs.
At all?
At all.
All 4 games or 3 games?
3 games.
Okay.
And that is the right decision. Now,
I would never question a head coach because I don't know.
Andy Reid, head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, different philosophy. I'm playing my starters. To each his own. I know what the guy.
I would be closer to Reid.
The guys I just listed, I know what they can do. I know what they're capable of on the football field. I'll see it September 4th against the New York Giants in the Meadowlands.
All right. Well, on that note,
happy 4th. Let me say it again. As hard as this is for me to say, happy, because I'm not happy. I got to go take down my 3rd indictment decorations. Happy, that said, happy 4th.
You're right.
Happy 4th indictment day to all who celebrate. We're on Twitter. Is my name on Twitter? I'm gonna call them Twitter. We're on Spoutable. We're on YouTube. First World, Third Rails. Please find us. Please listen to us. Please like us. Most of all, please, please, please subscribe to us. We hope today we brought you as much joy as we got knowing another indictment has been handed down to the man who tried to overthrow democracy.
Take all we can get.
Yes. Have a good one, my friend. We'll catch you on the flip.
Absolutely.
Happy Indictment Day. Oh, there we go. From Big Sir, happy Indictment Day. See you, partner.
Bye.